This video is about writing monologues. I'll keep it brief because the idea of my Let's Create sessions is for you to be doing the writing, not for me to be doing the talking. You have to let me go home. I promise I'll start eating again. If you let me go home, I promise I will. Yes, I do know you can force me to stay. I have been sectioned before. Yes, I do know that means I can be detained under the Mental Health Act. It's not you offering to surgically deliver a baby for me. But can I ask you to stop acting like a psychiatrist just for a moment? What do I mean? I mean, do you think you could spend a moment, just one moment, actually listening to what I have to say? And then what? And then if you still think I'm irrational enough to need sectioning, go ahead, go back to being a psychiatrist, stop listening, stop trying to understand, and a moment. Okay. Well, it's like this, see? Sometimes I dream of being able to eat again. Oh, I do eat now, of course, although I didn't for a while. Not at all for a while. And then gradually, little by little, I began to eat again, a little, just a little. And now, well, now I do eat now. Although not in the ordinary way of how eating is supposed to be. Does that make sense? Sometimes it all makes sense to me. Most of the time it does not. Turmoil. You ask me the first word that comes into my head whenever food is mentioned, and I'll come up with turmoil every time. I can feel the panic rising in the pit of my stomach where the food should end up, rushing and rushing through my body into my throat until the bile hits my mouth and makes me retch. What I would like, what I dream of is, I'm sitting at this table, anywhere, on my own with other people, it doesn't matter. And somebody brings me a plate of food, any food, it doesn't matter, that's the point of it. It could be anything, I'm not bothered, I'm just looking forward to my meal, not craving it or anything like I do now sometimes. Quite often, actually. But just looking forward to it in an ordinary, normal way. And the food gets put on the table and I eat it and enjoy it, but without thinking about it or even noticing it all that much, because it's just food, just a meal, just a part of ordinary, normal life. And I might be thinking of other ordinary, normal things while I'm eating, like wondering what's on the TV tonight, or shall I read the next chapter in the novel I was given for my birthday? Do you get what I mean? Anyway, the next thing is the meal's finished, I've eaten it and enjoyed it, and I feel okay. I don't even have to think to myself, oh, I've just eaten a whole meal, I feel okay. I just do feel okay without even having to say it to myself. And then I get up from the table and I'm not bothered that other people see my empty plate and know that I've just eaten a whole meal. It just isn't important. And then I walk away. Just like that. I walk away and go off and do something ordinary and normal, like not feeling guilty and disgusted and a failure, and like not running all the way home as fast as I can just so I can make myself sick. Just something, anything. I can't even think of what. It's so ordinary. That's what I dream about sometimes. No, I don't want a biscuit. Thank you for listening, Doctor. The monologue you just saw is from my play about a woman with anorexia called The Order of Disorder. I performed this monologue alone as well as part of a whole play. I actually wrote the monologue quite a while before I wrote the rest of the play, as it was something that was meaningful and important to me. The character Evie and her story were important to me. So whether you want to write a standalone monologue or one within a longer piece, know and care about your character and their story. their background, before you start to write. The audience or reader may never explicitly be told that background, but you need to know it, and much of what your character says or doesn't say will then provide any important background that is needed for the audience, both what they do and don't say in the monologue. If this is your first monologue, and your first go at writing a monologue, one way is to try it as a personal piece. Monologues are essentially a piece of storytelling. Think of a story, a memory that you might want to relate to an audience, and tell that story in a way that you think will keep them engaged. Simply write your memory, your thoughts down. Try something you're very familiar with, how it made and makes you feel to recount it. For example, I remember losing one of my very small children just for a few minutes in a supermarket. I could tell you in detail how we set out shopping that day, so think about what detail you want to put in. Make it funny. Why not? I remember being in an aisle and trying to reach a box of Weetabix down while stopping little hands from grabbing at things at floor level, and lead up to noticing one of them was missing. So I could talk about this before going on to tell the story of the panic, the search, and so on. Build up the tension. Include any sadness that's part of your story. Include humour, as I said. Don't force it, just write your memory, your story, and then read it back out loud. Try it out on a member of your household or a friend if you feel brave enough. Reading out loud often flags up glaring parts of a piece of dialogue where we stop and say, that character would never say that, or no one in this scenario would use that language, those words. It really helps your monologue become authentic and believable. Now, I do it all the time. As a poet as well as a playwright, I have a tendency to write in quite flowery language at times, and when I read it back, I realise that it doesn't work as dialogue for that character. If you want to write for a character you have created, try this. Make a note of what your character looks like, how they dress, some favourite likes, dislikes, and a variety of things. Food, clothes, people, films, whatever you like. Know your character. Give them some positive qualities and some flaws. Ask yourself a few questions. Who is your character's favourite family member? What do they hate most in a work colleague? What puts them in a good or bad mood? Do others see them as friendly, shy, difficult, weird? Think up your own details, the ones that you want to know about. Once you've built up a picture of your character, decide something that you want them to talk about. An event, a fear, a memory, a hope. Try this as an exercise. In my monologue, Evie starts by saying, "You have to let me go home." Start with a sentence, "You have to let me go home," and continue your character's monologue from there. See what comes into your head. Just write. Even if it seems unlikely or doesn't make sense, you can always edit it later. And often some really exciting, interesting and engaging writing can come out of this way of writing, which works brilliantly for your character and their monologue. These are just one or two ways of working that help me. Try them. If they work, use them. If they don't work, disregard them. Along the way, you'll probably find your own way of thinking, actually, I could try this. This will help me progress with my monologue. And that's what it's all about, finding ways, and more specifically, your own ways that work for you. If you'd like to share anything that you write with me or more widely, I'd love to read them, hear them. Post them below. Email me, WhatsApp me, or the Let's Write WhatsApp group. Why not video yourself reading your monologue? Learn it and perform it. Whatever works for you. Happy monologue writing.